Over the weekend, we announced the biggest, coolest, most exciting, impressive thing that you and I, as business partners, have and maybe will ever do. We launched a podcast with the preseason National Player of the Year, Purdue's own Braden Smith.
So for the folks that were waiting for the loophole to come about, they're waiting for the Monday short to drop where we're like, yeah, that was just a little, little preseason, a little funny we were putting out there. We're not actually doing a podcast with Braden. We just thought it'd be fun to kind of do, and Braden decided to participate. No, it's happening. So get ready because it's gonna be great.
It is. And, I,
Okay, okay, you know what? That is ridiculous.
what?
Please tell me that's not a crack high. Gregory, it is 9 in the morning on Monday, my friend.
And we just launched a preseason podcast with the preseason National Player of the Year, and college basketball's here, and it's opening day, and I'm proud and I'm excited. Okay, sue me. Am I not going to celebrate? Like, this is the craziest thing we've ever done.
And here I was thinking that I was doing a cool thing that I turned my little sleepers mug that I made and painted one time into a candle. I was gonna light that in honor of the greatness that is Sleepers Media, but I guess we're cracking high noons.
You turned our sleepers mug into a candle?
Yeah, I made this little like sleepers like little holder thing. Like I use it for pens and stuff like that. And I found a place that could make it into a candle. So look, it's a sleepers candle.
Got it. Okay. Impressive in its own right. Let's talk about this a little bit because I think this was received overwhelmingly well. And even if it wasn't received overwhelmingly well, I wanted to make sure we explain what our vision for this is. Partially just because I feel like I would have a different reaction to this if I wasn't involved in this, and we can be very self-aware about that. For starters, let's just give a little backstory on this. We have long loved the player that is Braden Smith. I think people know this on the channel. We've covered him as fairly as we can. You think back to 3 years ago when he was a true freshman, and we were watching that number one overall seed team. We went to Lincoln and watched them play. We were amazed by how ahead of schedule he was, but we also, I think, covered things relatively accurately at the time, where we were worried about him at the end of games and his inexperience and decision making. And we all know how that season ended. I think some of our concerns ended up being validated at the time. But then you get to the offseason before his sophomore year, we felt he wasn't getting enough love at all as a returnee. I mean, you think back to like preseason lists that were made from people that cover the conference, and Zed Key was in the top 10, and Braden Smith was nowhere near the entire list. And we basically threw a huge hissy fit about it. I mean, I remember doing like a week of like, why does no one realize how good this kid is? I think that is around the time that our Purdue audience really grew, and also that Braden himself, I think, kind of discovered us because it became a real big online talking point. And from there, we have been blessed to be able to build a relationship with him over the last couple years. I always point back to this. I think people know this, but last year when I was going through it a little bit with some criticism I had given to Purdue's basketball team and the way it was received from fans, I just needed a break. I took like a 7 day sabbatical basically from Purdue. And Braden sent me a really long text that was one of the more meaningful things anyone's ever reached out to me about, just telling me he like appreciates my coverage and hopes I'm okay. And from there, it's been a very cordial relationship. Of course, obviously we've rooted him and covered him, but we also know like he listens to us. Like we were in Ann Arbor for the Michigan Purdue game last year, and his roommate came up to us and was just like, "Hey, just so you know, like this is not a joke. Like y'all are always on our TV. Like Braden really watches everything you guys do." So in the back of our minds, we've kind of like always quietly known he pays attention, and that's been really cool. And we that's still none of that means we were like angling for this. There was never a moment this offseason where we were like, you know what? Let's get Braden to do a podcast until it fell into our laps. Is that a fair way to describe how we got here, Cart?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like, some of we do a lot of planning, and I think like, trying to improve the channel in any way we can. I don't know if this is the correct term to use about it, but this really just kind of came organically, right? Like he reached out to us as a fan of the show, and he's one of the best basketball minds in college basketball. You can't be as good of a player as he is, as good of a point guard as he is, without being able to think the game through. And he's just a fan of basketball talk. And yeah, when he reached out to us and said that he wanted to, participate in some capacity, and basically talk through what he wants to do, we are like, hell yeah, we can do that for sure. Yeah, I think we can make some time in our schedule for that one. But yeah, I'm very excited that it's going to come together. And I'm also very excited that I think, personally giving big props to you on this one. I feel like you've put a lot of thought into how this is going to go. And, obviously nothing is always 100% received well, but for the most part, I think people will very much enjoy this. Not just Purdue fans. I think college basketball fans in general will enjoy this.
100%. So, yeah, after it kind of fell into our laps when he reached out and was just like, at first it wasn't even a podcast. It was just kind of like, hey, if you ever want someone like to be a guest occasionally, like I would really love that. And I sent back like 4 or 5 different ideas of ways that we could act on that. Like starting small, like there were a couple proposals in there that were just like, hey, you could come on like every couple weeks and give us 10 minutes here and there. But of course, like when we knew the door was open and we know he likes it and is interested in collaborating on content, like I'm gonna propose something a little more formal and see if he's interested. And ultimately that's what he chose. So I guess I wanted to make this video to speak on the backstory of it and also speak on some of my intentions with this. Hopefully, clearing things up for Purdue fans that might be worried about their star player making content throughout a season. For starters, just
Hey,
please
You're
note,
you're you're in a great spot to speak about that.
I know I'm a historian of this. That's part of why I wanted to discuss it. But I just want everyone to know this is rooted in a genuine friendship, and I don't mean that to brag like, oh, we're friends with Braden. I mean it to say like I care way more about Braden the person than I do anything we would get out of a show with this. Like
Mm.
I am genuinely on a personal level rooting for that person every step of the way. And I think, to you joked about it, but I was a Michigan fan when the Hunter Dickinson pod came out, and I was interested in it. I listened to it. I couldn't stand it. I was one of the loudest critics of the fact that it existed and that it was a distraction. What I think is different about the way that was ran versus how we were going to do it is I don't believe the people involved in that show had a genuine. I don't want to say they weren't friends with Hunter, but like they didn't care about protecting Hunter at all. They went into that very much, I think, in an exploitive way to say, let's get him to say the craziest shit we can get for clips and views. That will never be our intention. That is something we will outwardly seek to protect Braden from. My number one goal with this is just to produce something that helps him in a variety of ways, helps him just have fun, helps him enjoy the season, helps him showcase some of his awesome personality and the person that he is to the world beyond just, people that know him on a private level. So I think we can do that. We're going to take immense care with it. As far as what to expect, weekly episodes is the format of this. We are recording the first one in between Purdue's 2 games this week. I think it will fluctuate based on Braden's schedule, where it goes. There's going to be a bunch of weeks where he's traveling and serious, like, serious weeks. We will do our best to navigate all of that. We're never going to, push him prioritizing this podcast over anything important to Purdue. But the goal is one per week. Expect around 30-minute episodes. That's sort of what we're shooting for, and we'll see if that changes. We should expect some special guests from time to time. Braden floated that as part of his vision for this, and he mentioned Fletcher Lawyer, Trey Kaufman-Renn by name. He mentioned some potential of getting former Purdue players back on the show, possibly members of the coaching staff, possibly people completely outside of Purdue circles. In fact, Card, I think that's something you and I might be able to bring that adds value to this, is bringing on some guests from outside of Purdue circles as well.
Yeah, look, I think that this is a very well thought out kind of proposal by us, a very well thought out idea. Um, and we execute ideas well. That's one thing that I can give us credit for. When we have an idea, We do a great job of executing it, and I think that this, like I said, this should be something that's enjoyable for everybody. And the one thing we do got going for us as well is that I think Braden Smith and Hunter Dickinson are wired just a bit differently as well, which I
Mhm.
think will also just inherently help avoid that type of round ball situation.
It's a good point too because I think and Hunter and Braden aren't the only two college basketball players to ever create a podcast. Coleman tried to do it last year too. There's some other guys that have gone down this path, but I think at the very heart of this, I think the reason this is existing and the reason Braden reached out is because this kid genuinely like is obsessed with basketball.
Hmm.
Like my interpretation from the little we've talked to him through the years is that this kid goes to practice, he goes to games, he comes home, he listens to basketball content, he watches games. Like I think every minute of his spare time is spent being a basketball obsessed psycho.
Hmm.
And you and I can relate to that. Our families have had to learn to deal with that. And I think that's kind of where this starts is that there's no reason this exists other than Braden genuinely like wanting to talk ball. And I think we were one of the first places that could help him do that. Um, we also realize how fortunate we are just on a straight up, let's call it what it is. I think any college basketball platform in America would bend over backwards to make this happen. To have the preseason National Player of the Year, a player of his caliber doing this, to me, it's unprecedented. I've never seen a college basketball player this good sign up for something like this, and we're going to take immense care with it and make sure it becomes something really cool for everybody. How are you personally feeling about it? Like, are you excited? Are you nervous? Are you like, damn, I got extra work to do this week now?
No, I mean, obviously, I'm a nervy individual, so like, I'm nervous about it just because I think to your point, as a person, like, I really like Braden, right? So I want this to go well for him. I want it to go well for us. Um, Also, you know how I operate too. I'm still like, I can't believe that we got like a weekly Braden Smith segment, like you and I.
Hmm?
It's it's wild. You and I is wild. Like it's, it feels good like our hard work kind of being rewarded in a sense for this.
100%. Yeah, it is not hyperbolically, I think, the biggest thing we've done in our careers to this point.
Someone tweeted from drunk scouts to national player of the year on your podcast, which is truthfully crazy when you think about it.
It is. I'm also like thinking ahead. Like a holiday Braden Smith episode is gonna go so crazy. Like all three of us in our Christmas jammies with some
Yes.
eggnog.
And Secret Santa.
It's gonna be so great. I can't wait. We'll have to do at least one episode in person this year, hopefully more. I think I have some plans on how we could potentially make that happen as well. Obviously, the Final Four is in Indianapolis, so knock on wood. Hopefully, we can make something really cool happen if the season goes to plan. Best case scenario, Purdue wins a national championship, and this entire journey is documented in a really unique way. Worst case scenario, it doesn't go that way, and we'll do our best to cover this as honestly and fairly as we can along the way, and know that it's rooted in a real personal relationship here. Feel like I had one to two other things on this. Oh, make sure you subscribe and support. So the way this is going to logistically come out, it's called the Running Point Podcast with Braden Smith. Ultimately, it is his show. For episode one, we are co-hosts, and we're going to try and make it as easy as possible on him. But there might be episodes down the line where you and I or one of us doesn't appear. Could just be Braden with guests, could be Braden with friends. For starter points, though, it's the three of us. And then if that feels like it's right, there's a fourth chair where we could bring on a guest anytime we want. No spoilers on guests that will be upcoming, but that is the plan for sure, is to get some guests involved. I don't know how you feel about this. We're kind of still sorting through this, but to me, I think about half the show will be like what's happening with Purdue. Let's talk like the game that just happened, the game that's coming up, anything else you want on the team. And then I think the other half is going to be broader. Like I don't know, even like in the exhibition season, I was really interested in his thoughts on like is the scout really all that important here with this huge dialogue that's going on? Like, have you looked outside of this? Have you seen what these freshmen are doing? Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer, like that's sort of my vision. Is it's not just a Purdue show. You definitely get your Purdue fix, but I think we're going to cover a lot broader topics than that. Is that how you're going into this too?
Yeah, I picture a world where like he comes off that question and he's talking about the scout and everything about it is just like purest basketball talk. And then I follow that up with like yeah, I for sure that I definitely get that. So like, why'd you get the forearm tat if we're gonna cover it up with the sleeve, Braden?
Right.
Yeah, that's why you tap. I need to know. We got the color tat on the right wrist, and we're not even gonna be able to show it to the world.
Yeah, right. Also, like if he was here right now, he'd probably be talking Winthrop, Queens with us because I'm assuming he's watching that right now. That's the basketball sicko that he is. It would be a really funny bit if like all you did on the pod was ask him about like movies.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, Braden. So Goodwill Hunting. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like we're just
Hey, hey.
we're knee deep in like the Jakari Harris breakout, and it's just so you seen Long Legs? Like, dude, no. Anyways, more of this. I'm sure you're excited. Running Point Podcast is what it's called. You can follow it on Twitter. There is a Twitter account for it at Pod Running Point. Looks like we're at 450 followers right now. That's great. We'll tweet out clips from episodes and all new episodes there. There is its own podcast feed, Running Point with Braden Smith, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple and Spotify. That is unique and new and separate from the Sleepers podcast feed. And then if you're looking for the video versions of this, it will all come out through the Sleepers Media YouTube channel in its own playlist. It'll look and feel similar to what the Sleepers podcast does, but it will be hosted there. So it is always more helpful to us if you watch our videos on YouTube. We've had people ask like, "What's best for you?" What's best for us is definitely if you watch the YouTube videos. But
Mhm.
if you are a pod listener, you definitely can get that elsewhere as well. Am I missing anything else on this from your perspective?
No, I feel like you covered it pretty well. I'll just end it with this. I'm just hyped. Like everything surrounding it. Like I'm honestly I'm not too worried about the content of it. I think that at the heart of it though, it's just really dope that we are gonna be able to help Braden because I think that's what it's about. He wants to do this. He wants to be able to, have this opportunity and, we can provide that to him while also like participating. So I'm hype about it.
One step closer to me achieving my life's purpose of being an NBA star's generic white host.
And one step closer to mine. You know how like, that you win like the Kia MVP award in the NBA and it comes with a Kia?
Yes.
So moving forward, if Naismith voters want to allow it, I'm thinking that, every National Player of the Year just has an opportunity that they have a segment on our show that following year.
I mean, that's would be electric.
Yeah. So they think they're going to get a
Well,
PS5 and some money, and all they get is a graphic and JK's phone number.
so the thing is, we always find a way to make it about this guy. Braden's going to graduate this summer. There's a world next year Christian Anderson's the preseason National Player of the Year.
We're here.
We have a chance at doing that if that happened.
Keep the streak alive.
I'm just saying. But by then I'll be in Vancouver doing or wherever Memphis now. It's Memphis. Sorry, Memphis will have Braden, and I'll be living in Memphis hosting his weekly show.
Oh, understood.
Yeah, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but that's where my life is headed. Did you keep any receipts through the process of announcing this?
Any receipts?
Yeah, did you keep any receipts through the process of announcing the biggest thing of our careers?
Uh, no.
No.
I know you did.
Any observations at all? No.
No,
Okay. All right,
none
cool.
whatsoever.
Just pure excitement.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
positive vibes.
Yeah. I'm focused on my point guard,
Yeah. Cool.
our teammate.
Right.
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Let's
All
go.
right. All right. First episode drops later this week. Should be out by I think late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. Stay tuned. Thank you to all who supported. We see you.